Next we have Shayne Fraser-Bierman, and she is a resilience and burnout prevention coach who works with people who look fine on the outside, but they're not okay underneath. They're also navigating their own burnout journey, and she helps professionals catch the signs early and make sense of what is really going on and rebuild the way that supports them with energy, clarity, and sense of self. She's a mother, a wife, and a beautiful soul. Here we have Shayne Fraser-Bierman and her talk, Identity Theft.
Imagine someone stole your ID, opened accounts in your name, and made a mess of your life, except it wasn't you. We all know that kind of identity theft, but there's another kind of identity theft that's a lot harder to spot. The kind where you slowly disappear inside your own life until you don't know who you are anymore. One morning, it had hit me. I'd built the life I thought I wanted, but I was surviving it, not living it. And in the end, I realized that I'd lost my identity. My psychiatrist booked me off work for a year. Then I had to go back to work and relapsed after 4 months and landed up in a psychiatric clinic. After that, I had to return back to work again, and the day that I walked in the building, I felt like I was going to have a panic attack. And I just felt like I was returning to the scene of the crime. I'd worked so hard to build a life that I could give my daughter the things and experiences and opportunities that I could never have as a child. A life that a younger me would be envious of. And I just realized that the risk had just become too high and the cost was too high. So early one morning, I walked into the department head's office with my throat feeling like it was closing up, and I said to her that it was time for me to resign and choose me. The day I left the building, I felt like an immense amount of relief, and I thought, oh, I can finally breathe again. This chapter's behind me. But little did I know that the worst was yet to come, because no one warns you what it's like to wake up in the morning and not know who you are anymore. No one warns you how hard it is to introduce yourself without a title, who you are, not what you do. And no one warns you how hard it is to unwrap that persona that you've created in your work persona. We mold ourselves over the years. We slowly but surely we lose our sense of selves. We become a socially acceptable version of ourselves in order to fit in. And oh, sorry, it's getting a bit emotional. And it happens so slowly that you don't realize that it's happening. And that's what identity theft looked like in my life. Things that I used to enjoy just became like a chore. I didn't feel like I was fully me any longer. And I remember that it felt like that color had left my life. It was like watching an old black and white movie. And I remember the night of the Imagine Dragons concert so vividly. The experience in the stadium was electric, and I felt the music washing over me. I felt the bass in my chest, and when the song Believer came on, it felt like the lead singer was singing directly to me. I got the chills, and my throat started constricting, and I just burst into tears of joy, and joy just ripped right through me. And in that moment, I knew that I would do everything in my capacity to protect my joy again. I started to fall in love with myself in the gym of all places. I used to be very, very critical of myself and my thoughts, and what I'd learned in the gym is that I'd noticed after time that I was actually starting to be kinder to myself in my thoughts than what I was normally. Instead of berating and telling myself to push through, I was actually encouraging myself. And it wasn't for quite a few weeks that I noticed until I noticed the change. And I had a habit of always wearing earbuds when I was training alone, and I listened to my favorite music, and a song called Lifetime came on, and what was one of my favorite songs to work out to. But that day, on the embarrassing inner thigh machine in the gym, the song came on, and for the first time I really heard the words, and in the words it says, "I've been waiting a lifetime to tell you that I love you." And I didn't realize I was crying until I felt a teardrop on my hand. And that's when I realized that I was starting to get my identity back again. That was when I discovered that self-compassion is the missing piece in burnout recovery, because you can't heal unless you prepare to look and love at all the parts of you. And that's why identity theft is so sneaky, because it takes away that part of you. You don't wake up suddenly one day and just hate your life. It happens so slowly that you don't even realize that it's happening. How many of you are coping on the surface but underneath feel like something's off? How many of you are so used to pushing through that you've forgotten what it's costing you? Burnout doesn't only steal energy, it steals your joy, it steals your peace, and it steals your identity. You only get so many loops before your body or your mind forces you to stop. Hi, I'm Shayne. I'm a burnout survivor turned coach, and I help people who are unraveling, who are performing on the surface but unraveling underneath, and I help them find what burnout is costing them, so that they don't have to pay the ultimate price. Thank you. It was a struggle.